one of the most biggest questions in the theme park industry is which one's better, Kings Dominion or Busch Gardens. I would not recommend looking towards the locals because they will definitely be biased of their own park, but I think I count myself as a local to both of these parks. So I will be comparing the rides and the overall of the park and seeing which one's better. First up, I'm going to do Alpengeist and Dominator. First, starting off, these are really big B&Ms with very big inversions, and I love them both. I think these two would compare the best. I don't know if they're both the same speed, but they both feel like they have the same speed. The Alpengeist Mega inversions are better than Dominator's inversions. But, however, the mid-course brake one on Alpengeist kills the whole ride, while on Dominator it doesn't really kill the whole ride. Also, Dominator is a little bit smoother, so I think this one's going to go to Dominator. Next up is our two Woodies, Grizzly versus Invader. Both of them don't have a mid-course brake run and have a fast pace throughout the whole ride. But Grizzly has much more airtime. I think the forces hit more, but it's kind of also not fair because Grizzly is a thrill ride and Invader's a family coaster. But it's the closest match, so I had to add it. Next up is both of their airtime machines, Twisted Timbers versus a Polished Chariot. Twisted Timbers does have airtime, but it is my second favorite roller coaster in Virginia, and a Polished Chariot does not rank that high. So I have to go with Twisted Timbers, but a Polished Chariot comes in close. I just wish a Polished Chariot had stronger airtime instead of that first hill, because Twisted Timbers has airtime through the whole ride, although a Polished Chariot has airtime on the first drop, and maybe on the second Camelback. But Kings Dominion gets the point again. Now it is time for both their family coasters, Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge versus Woodstock Express. I have not been on Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge, but I've heard reviews, and based on the reviews, I think it sounds better than Woodstock Express. But I haven't written it yet, so if you have any comments on this, put it in the comments below. So Busch Gardens gets this point. Now let's do Verbolten versus Flight of Fear. I picked these two because they're both launch coasters, and they're both, well, at least Verbolten is mainly indoors, and Flight of Fear is fully indoors. So I thought these would be two good rides to compare. Verbolten and Flight of Fear both have a lot of theming, but I think Verbolten has more overall theming, and I like Verbolten's indoor section more than Flight of Fear's indoor section. Skip ahead like 10 seconds if you don't want to spoil this surprise, but it has a drop track which puts it way ahead. So this round goes to Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Also to add, mainly adults say this, but they say Verbolten is comfy and Flight of Fear is not that comfy. Okay, next up is Pantheon versus Rapterra. Both of their pretty big and pretty main launch coasters, I would say. They're definitely big for the park, one of their top investments. Pantheon is the #1 roller coaster in the state, in my opinion, so it's already Pantheon's on top, but I'm just going to tell you why. Rapterra does have a little bit of a beat and rattle. It's not as bad as people say it is, but it's still pretty bad. Would I say it affects the ride? Maybe a little bit, but not too much. Meanwhile, Pantheon, it feels like you're riding on glass, and also the backwards airtime hill on Pantheon is just so fun. Busch Gardens with the points. Next up is Griffin versus Pantherian. I think we all know the clear winner here. The reason why I compared the two is because, well, I was running out of ideas, and they're both like one of the tallest in the parks. So they're going up against each other. Clearly, Pantherian is better with the intense drop and whippy transitions, but Griffin does come in a little close, not really that much close, but a little bit close with its cool inversions and its airtime on some of the hills. But it's an easy win for Pantherian. Now, if you can't tell, I'm running out of ideas a lot. Loch Ness Monster versus Racer 75. Yeah, they don't really have anything in common, but I had to give this one to Loch Ness Monster because it's smoother due to the recent retrack, and Racer 75 is still bumpy. Plus, it barely races, and the only time it has airtime is on the first drop. Loch Ness Monster has airtime on the two main drops, especially in the back. I was basically standing up in my seat. And I also like the interlocking loops. That's pretty cool, especially knowing it's the only one left in the world. But this point goes Loch Ness Monster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Alright, so I would technically call it a tie, but there's 3 rides that I missed at Kings Dominion, which is Apple's Apple, Black Lot Stunt Coaster, and Reptilian, so I have to give Kings Dominion an extra 3 points for those. But, however, with the theming and... Well, Kings Dominion focuses more on quantity more than quality. Busch Gardens focuses on quality. So, due to that, I think Busch Gardens has a better coaster lineup overall. So, that gets Busch Gardens 2 more points. So, the total score right now is 7 Kings Dominion to 6 Busch Gardens. Alright, now it is time for theming. Busch Gardens has theming everywhere in the park to a specific category, while Kings Dominion only has 2 sections, which is Jungle Expedition and Candy Apple Grove. Also, all the rides at Busch Gardens have good theming, and the only one at Kings Dominion that has great theming is Rapterra and Flight of Fear. All of them at Busch Gardens have good theming, except for Pantheon. So that point has to go to Busch Gardens. Next is food. The main food spot at Busch Gardens is the big place. I don't know what you call it, but it's by Dark Coaster. While Kings Dominion is more spread out. If I had to say a main place, probably the pizza place or Jukebox Dinner by Twisted Timbers. Busch Gardens pretzels and churros are amazing, and their big dining spot has a lot of options with amazing desserts. While Kings Dominion does have great pizza, and the burgers are okay, and so are the fries, but I feel like Busch Gardens has good food all around, so the point goes to Busch Gardens. Next up is how well the park is taken care of. I don't see much trash in either of these parks, but Busch Gardens is definitely more green, but Kings Dominion takes a good job at their lake where Anaconda used to be. They have a good job of cleaning that and putting grass where Berserker is. They are both really clean, really green, but Kings Dominion does have a lake, but I feel like I noticed Busch Gardens has way more beautiful flowers than Kings Dominion. So, because of Busch Gardens' more flowers and Kings Dominion's lake, this will have to go down as a tie. So, in my opinion, it's worth it to go to Busch Gardens, even if you're close to Kings Dominion, an hour away from Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens is just a better park, in my opinion, focusing more on quantity more than quality. And Busch Gardens takes Kings Dominion by a lot, in my opinion. And I think that will never change. I think Busch Gardens will stay up and be the best park in Virginia longer, at least, unless there's a new park, but I doubt that. But I think it's always going to be better than Kings Dominion. So Busch Gardens is my favorite park in Virginia. Like and subscribe, and I'll do my favorite park in the whole entire USA. Rankings.